Can you give perhaps 2 or 3 examples of what kind of things you are very sensitive to?
Well, a lot of things, but usually when I go into a shop and there's loud music there, I just want to run away. I have a hard time dealing with noise and chaos.
Yes, or being in a big city, traffic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I suggest that you experiment a little bit when these situations arise and you feel the same thing happening again. And if you bring a very alert attention to the situation, you realize that really there are 3 levels to this situation. Level 1 is whatever it is that disturbs you, the external noise, the chaos, the traffic, whatever it may be. So there's the thing that disturbs you, level 1. Level 2, there is your reaction to that thing that disturbs you, which could come as it could be an almost physical reaction, as perhaps a contraction in your body. It could be also an emotional reaction of frustration, irritation, anger, I assume, something like that, right? And also, in addition, the reaction could be certain thoughts in your head about the situation that says, I can't stand being here any longer, it's dreadful, dreadful, right? This is level 2. Now, be aware of that these 2 are, first of all, separate. There is the triggering event or situation, and then there is your physical, emotional, mental reaction to that. And now, what is level 3? That is usually overlooked, but level 3 is where ultimately freedom lies. Level 3 is your awareness of both these levels. You are aware that there is the situation, the event, there is my reaction, physical, emotional, mental, and there is myself being the aware space for those 2. And if you can bring your attention more to that deepest level, then you realize changes will happen on the other 2 levels. If you recognize yourself not as the reacting entity that happens in you, but that's not who you are.
Got it.
But you recognize yourself as the awareness that is aware of the thing that's happening out there, of the thing that's reacting inside.
So it's actually like, Debbie, you're observing your own behavior. You're observing your ego's behavior to it.
Yes.
You're observing your ego's behavior.
With no judgment, just as pure observation, pure awareness.
Like, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm getting so upset over
Yes.
this guy pulling in front of me.
Just being there as the awareness. So, and that's already the beginning of freedom. And then increasingly you realize that you are that, you are not the entity that is reacting. And then, as Oprah said, then you can let go of thinking of yourself, of having this concept of yourself as a highly sensitive person that perhaps you might, it's not natural, nothing personal in this, you may have become attached to because you've lived with this concept of who you are for many years. So that's where freedom lies.
And just detaching yourself, that doesn't change the situation.
It doesn't immediately change the situation, but you do find that as you practice this, changes suddenly appear. Changes sometimes first appear in the force that is behind your reaction that lessens. You still react, but less, not as strongly. And miraculously, you sometimes even find that if you're totally, because really the awareness level is also part of the acceptance. Completely accepted at this moment, this is what I feel, and this is what the external situation is. With complete acceptance, even changes often happen miraculously in the external situation. And you can practice with little things, because little things happen throughout the day that people feel irritated about, angry about, are protesting against, and so on. Or with little things, you will have many opportunities to practice. So it's a wonderful spiritual practice. So you use what you before you wanted to get rid of, you use it as part of your spiritual practice, and then as a byproduct, you also eventually get rid of it. So you can either be reactive, act according to the way you've reacted for many years, your past conditioning, or you can become more alert when a challenging situation happens, so that you don't internally separate yourself from the situation, so that when you completely open yourself to the situation, that you bring an alertness to it, an alertness of presence. So you're facing the situation totally with that state of alert presence. You're not reactive anymore. And if something needs to be said or done in the situation, the words will suddenly come from that level of consciousness, from that alert stillness. If you need to do something, then the right thing, the right doing will happen. Instinctively, or instinctively is not the right word, intuitively, the right thing, you will do the right thing. And so whenever you are upset about any situation, there's a line in the Course in Miracles that says, I am never upset for the reason I think.
Yes.
So because when you're upset, you have lost yourself on the external level, what we call the horizontal.
But aren't there some things worth upsetting you? I mean, there are injustices in the world, and there are horrible things happening all the time in the world that we should be upset about.
I wouldn't say that we should be upset about. It is normal for people to be upset about this, but it is not the most effective way of bringing about change.
I got it. You can be upset all day long and nothing changes.
Nothing happens.
Because people have been upset for years and things don't change.
Yes. People are upset about violence, they're upset about war, continuous war between nations and so on. It continues to happen. And you cannot fight against.
But being upset about it changes nothing.
No. So it's more powerful to face a situation and see this is how it is, and then see if action is possible. What is it that can be done?
Got it.
And then there's no negativity in the action. But if you are resisting, if you're complaining about a situation already, whatever you do, negativity flows into what you do.